Hello everyone, basically, if you're confused as to what the title of this video is, because you think, hey, I've seen this one before, you have. This is basically a re-upload kind of deal because I've used some fan art from the absolutely wonderful Harry Amat here on Twitter to talk about the TARDIS interior that was leaked a little while back. I want to talk about it, but obviously I didn't want to have any conflict with the BBC or anything like that, so obviously this is an artist interpretation of the TARDIS interior, but the footage was captured when the initial leak occurred. So thanks to Harry Amat and Dalias for providing the visuals for this video. I appreciate that immensely. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video where this is not clickbait, this is not, a fake leak from Reddit or something. This is real. The TARDIS interior for Series 14 and I guess the 60th specials has leaked online. Let's get right into it, I guess. But before we get into it, if you could do me a teeny tiny little favor and click that subscribe button, that'd be very much appreciated. We are trying to get to 20,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so any support would be greatly appreciated on that front. I also have a Twitter and an Instagram if you'd like to follow. The link will be in the description below. But with that said, let's get into the video. So yes, we have leaked both image and video footage of the brand new TARDIS for the Russell T Davies 2 era. I'm assuming it's going to be carried forward not only in the 60th special, but also in Series 14 as well, because we know Ncuti Gatwa's seen his TARDIS, and I find it very improbable that they'd build this massive set and then make a smaller second one for a couple episodes. It doesn't make much sense. The console itself is kind of a weird hybrid between, I guess, the Capaldi one and almost like an 80s vibe with all the additional buttons and levers and dials and switches. And I must say, I'm a big fan of the shape of the console. Also, you'll notice that this TARDIS, for the first time ever, has ramps, so this was sort of confirmed in an article talking about how the TARDIS would actually be wheelchair accessible, and that seems to be the case here as the stairs have been foregone for ramps, which, I mean, to be honest, just looks more aesthetically pleasing anyway, even just without the disabled representation here. Although I must say, as someone who is disabled, it's incredibly heartwarming to see a TARDIS that I could actually access. As a kid, I always sort of wanted a TARDIS, but was always kind of, fearful of, what if the interior had stairs and I could, get to the buttons and stuff. So having a TARDIS that I could actually use is kind of like childhood wish fulfillment for me, and I imagine it'll be the same for a lot of young disabled people growing up with this. Yeah, so that's incredibly cool and does kind of warm my heart. Here you can also see in the lower levels rooms going off to different sections, implying that there will be multiple rooms shown in this new era, or at the very least the potential for new rooms, and you can also see ramps that seem to go down to the lower levels. I personally really like this console room a lot. Obviously you could see the roundels there, which are very much classic Who inspired. The bridgeway into the TARDIS is it gives me kind of vibes of the Tennant TARDIS, but obviously with its own unique style, and I really like it. So yes, as you saw, that's the leaked physical prop for the TARDIS for the Russell T Davies era going forward, and I really do like it. Obviously, this kind of looks like it's been before post-production or before it's finalized. You can also make out as well what looks to be a giant monitor area over here, kind of similar to the Smith First TARDIS interior, as well as the various doorways to the other rooms as we previously mentioned. And the actual doorway into the TARDIS, obviously it's very hard to make out, but if you zoom in, it looks very Tennant-esque with the big phone on the side of the door, and obviously we've gone back to the regular just door inlay into the TARDIS as opposed to what they did in the Whittaker era, where it was kind of a box that led into the TARDIS. You can sort of see as well, the top part is kind of similar to the Peter Capaldi clock vibe, but with more of, I guess, a rounded edge. You can definitely see the inspiration from previous TARDISes, 100%. They've definitely sort of made this more open plan, whereas I felt always with the Whittaker one, that the pillars made it a little bit more crammed together, whereas they've made this very open plan, and I think that's by design. It feels like a giant alien spaceship, which I really like. Very classic Who, but also with its own stylings as well. I quite like the sort of, I guess, cylindrical shape of it almost. Is that the right way to describe it? The kind of sort of frisbee-like look of it, where it sort of curves outwards, because to me, that makes it look more spacious as well. Construction. I must say, I'm really excited to see, the likes of Rachel Talalay directing this set, because we know how beautiful they made the Capaldi set look, and I'm really interested to see how this looks when it's nicely lit and stuff. I'm wondering with that bright beam of light, in the center of the time rotor, I think it would look really fantastic. But I must say, for me personally, this gives off a much stronger initial impression than the leaked picture of the Whittaker interior did. I don't know what it is with TARDISes and getting leaked interior-wise. I guess just inevitably someone's going to work on it and snap a couple of pictures, but it gives off a much stronger vibe than that one does. To me, this one looks a lot more classic TARDIS-y and a lot more refined and a lot more sort of, and sleek is probably the right word I'm looking for. As I said, I really love the shape of the console and the fact that you could see there, you know, visible buttons and things like that. And yeah, I really like the look of this. But yeah, that's the leaked TARDIS interior. Let me know in the comments below what you think about it. Please like the video if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new. Thank you for watching, and I will see you later.